On the way home, my train back to York got stuck in a tunnel for 3 hours, so I typed it all up and I made this spectrum, the series of 5 spectra where you can judge where your school is. And every so often when we get complacent at Huntington, I get these out and say, come on, where are we? And this is one on, are we truly great or are we failing? That's what failing school culture is, according to Annie Magill. Excuse, excuse, excuse. And if you get the culture right, this is what truly great schools. I call it truly great, I don't call it outstanding. That's what it feels like if you're in a truly great school. And that's just my aspiration. So there's the first part. I think head teachers have to do that. And then secondly, they have to teach. There is Annie Magill, and I wrote to Annie, I've got this book I'm nearly finished at the moment, Why Head Teachers Should Teach, which should be the head teacher of the school. And I asked her for something about, could she write me something for the book, 200 words, on how she gets improving teaching at the core of her school. She said, I haven't got time to do that, but here's our 365 ways to improve your school, one a day for the year. And I promise you, this is number 1. Right? And I think that's the core of it, isn't it? How can I be lead teacher in the school if I can't do the job myself? Right? Now, I think, I was talking with Laura earlier, I think there's other models. I think you look at David Carter over in the West. Hugely respect David Carter, and he's just said, look, I don't do the teaching thing anymore, but I'm a team builder who gets people in, and I run the budget, and I make that happen with people who are more talented than me. That's fine. And if you go to that executive route, that's fine. For me, I'm not interested in that executive route. I didn't go into education to be a businessman. I didn't go into it to learn about employment law. I went into it because I love Shakespeare and I wanted to share my love of Shakespeare and literature with young people. Right? So I'd rather go back into the classroom and be this executive head. And I could just finish now, because that's actually the core of my argument. I needn't have written the book. Just looking at just the number 1, go to Annie's 265. But someone I've been reading a lot recently, and I think absolutely gets it, is a woman called Vivian Robinson. And her book called Student-Centered Leadership, if you've never read it, is extraordinary. And what she did is a meta-analysis of 199 studies into leadership and the impact that leadership of schools has on student outcomes. And she thought there were 5 leadership dimensions that leaders had to have, and 3 capabilities. You look at the right hand there, building relational trust. I think that's crucial. What's really interested me was that the one with the biggest effect size was leading teacher learning and development. If head teachers were involved centrally in doing that had most impact on student outcomes. Twice the effect size of any of the other top 5. Right? So it seems to me the research absolutely backs up what I knew intuitively, that actually head teachers need to get back into classrooms and teach and coach and mentor and do all those things about the classroom rather than employment. So I think next we'll go on to some video, but just bear with me if we don't. That's her. I put that in so I could talk about her, then go on to the video. Right, here's the video. It's her talking about those 5.
The bottom line on what counts as effective leadership is, for our research team, the difference you make to the students. It might sound common sense, but it's quite radical, because school leaders are often judged on their relationships with the adults, their teachers, their parents, and not so much on the difference they make for the students. So this question about what specific leadership practices make a difference for students, we were asked to address that question at the University of Auckland by the Ministry of Education in New Zealand. So we discovered that there are 5 sets of leadership practices that make a difference to student outcomes. So the more of these leadership practices in the school, the better for the students. The first is clear goals, usually around learning or some aspect of student well-being. The second is, once you've got those goals, that you are resourcing the achievement of those goals through the way you use money, time and teaching resources. The third is leadership that's deeply involved in the core business of teaching and learning, through getting involved with planning the curriculum, what's being taught and how well it's being taught. The fourth is leadership that's actually involved with staff in learning how to achieve the goals, because quite often staff need to learn more about how to teach a particular group of students differently. So that leadership that's involved in teacher learning is a very powerful sort of leadership practice. And the last one is that this all sits on a foundation of both staff and students feeling they're working in a safe and orderly school environment.
Everybody knows in their gut that leadership is important. We're much more focused on making a bigger difference for our students, making them more confident about their learning so that they can go on in their learning to university, to better jobs, to contribute to our society in positive ways.
There you are, and I recommend that book. I think what she argues is almost irrefutable, really. Anybody who's worked in a school knows that to be true. What's great about that is she has, as it says, research which wonders, all that research behind what we know intuitively.